March feels like a turning point, but not in a loud or dramatic way. This is the kind of month where something is quietly being prepared, where endings don't slam doors, they dissolve them, where beginnings don't explode into life, they wait for the right moment to catch. There's a sense of standing at the very end of a cycle, not just the end of Pisces season, but the end of the astrological year itself. Before the fire of Aries arrives, we move through purification, reflection, and surrender. Rather than asking us to charge forward, March asks us to empty out. And sometimes that takes more courage than starting something new. Welcome back to Libra Rising, where guidance from the stars meets reflections for the soul. As with February, we'll be focusing on the larger themes of the month, rather than tracking every single date. March has a clear internal rhythm, a first half that refines and releases, and a second half that begins to reignite. Let's step into the main astrological themes shaping this month. March opens with a lunar eclipse in Virgo, and eclipses rarely whisper. Virgo is the sign of discernment, health, systems, service, and the small daily choices that quietly build a life. Opposite the sun in Pisces, this eclipse highlights the tension between surrender and precision, faith and functionality. You may feel called to clean something up, literally or symbolically. A habit, a routine, a work dynamic, a way of being useful that no longer feels sustainable. Because it's an eclipse, this isn't just a gentle adjustment. It's a culmination, a completion, a moment where something inefficient or misaligned can no longer continue unchanged. This energy asks, what is draining more than it's giving? What needs refinement before the next chapter begins? The new moon in Pisces arrives just 2 days before the equinox, making it the final new moon of the astrological year. Pisces is about release, forgiveness, dissolution, trust. With Mercury retrograde in Pisces during this time, the past may resurface, not to trap you, but to be re-seen with gentler eyes. Old emotional narratives, old confusion, old versions of yourself. This new moon doesn't ask, what are you starting? It asks, what are you ready to let go of? There's something deeply cleansing about this lunation. It's the moment of washing the slate clean, not through force, but through acceptance. March may feel like a soft closing of a door you once struggled to shut. Underlying the entire month is the continuing influence of Saturn conjunct Neptune in early Aries, a rare blending of discipline and dream, structure and vision. This energy can feel like a reality check, especially around long-term ideals, spiritual beliefs, or personal ambitions. Illusions may dissolve, not as punishment, but as clarification. What remains is what can actually be built. Saturn in Aries asks, where are you willing to take responsibility for your own becoming? Neptune adds, and can you do so without losing faith? March carries a tone of spiritual maturity, not cynicism, not fantasy, but something steadier, a willingness to anchor vision in action. When the sun enters Aries on March 20th, the atmosphere shifts. This marks the astrological new year, a fresh cycle of initiation, identity, and forward movement. But unlike impulsive beginnings, this Aries season is shaped by everything that came before it this month. We've refined, we've released, we've revisited. Now the question becomes, who are you now that you've let go of what you're not? The second half of March begins to carry a quiet spark, the kind that starts small but steady. Not reckless fire, intentional fire. Taken together, March isn't asking for urgency. It's asking for honesty. Honesty about what needs cleaning up. Honesty about what needs forgiving. Honesty about what dreams are real enough to build. As we move into the tarot portion of this reading, we'll explore how to navigate this clearing and ignition on a personal level, especially if you're feeling both tender and ready at the same time. Before we move into the tarot, just a brief reminder of how these monthly readings are structured. We'll begin with a 4-card elemental spread for the collective, offering insight into the emotional, mental, energetic, and embodied themes moving through March as a whole. After that, we'll move into the Zodiac tarot section with 1 card for each sign. You're welcome to listen for your sun, moon, or rising sign, or move through all 12 if that feels supportive. Timestamps are included in the description to make that easy. With so much of March centered around refinement, release, and renewal, the tarot can help us understand how these themes might land on a more personal level. Let's begin with the collective spread for March. For the collective tarot this month, I pulled a 4-card elemental spread, looking at how March may move through us on different levels: soul and intuition, mind and ego, emotion and spirit, and finally, through the body and instinct. As always, these cards aren't predictions about what will happen. They offer insight into how this month may want to be experienced, where there may be friction, where there may be hesitation, and where quiet clarity is forming beneath the surface. And interestingly, this spread carries a strong sense of pause. Not stagnation, but evaluation. In the air position, which I associate with soul and intuitive perception, we have the 8 of Swords. This card often speaks to feeling mentally restricted or boxed in, a sense that options are limited, that movement isn't possible, or that something is holding us back. But the 8 of Swords is a card of perception more than reality. The restrictions it describes are often internal. Narratives, assumptions, fears that feel solid, but may not be entirely true. In March, especially with Mercury retrograde active, this may show up as old thought patterns resurfacing. Stories about who you are, what you're capable of, or what's possible for you. The invitation here isn't to force clarity. It's to gently question the walls. Are they truly immovable? Or are they made of belief? The soul may feel temporarily constrained, not because the path is closed, but because perspective is shifting. In the fire position, the realm of mind, identity, and ego, we have the 8 of Cups reversed. Upright, this card speaks to walking away from something that no longer fulfills you. Reversed, it suggests hesitation, knowing something may need to end, but not quite being ready to release it. This can feel like circling the same emotional terrain, revisiting a decision, lingering at the edge of departure. Paired with the 8 of Swords, there's an interesting dynamic here. The soul feels stuck. The ego isn't ready to leave. March may bring awareness of something you've outgrown, a role, a dynamic, an expectation, while also revealing how attached you still are to it. This isn't failure, it's honesty. Sometimes the hardest step isn't walking away, it's admitting that it may be time. In the water position, emotion and spirit, we have the Seven of Pentacles. This is a card of assessment and patience. Seeds have already been planted. Effort has already been invested. Now comes the pause, the waiting to see what grows. Emotionally, this may feel like evaluating where your energy has been going, asking whether what you're nurturing is aligned with where you want to be heading. There's no urgency here, no panic, just a quiet question. Is this worth continuing? Is this the garden I want to tend? With Saturn's influence strong this month, this card feels especially aligned. It's not about abandoning everything. It's about discerning what has real potential and what may have run its course. In the Earth position, the body and instinct, we have the Ten of Cups reversed. Upright, this card represents emotional fulfillment, harmony, and shared happiness. Reversed, it can indicate a subtle misalignment between what looks ideal and what actually feels nourishing. On an instinctive level, the body may be registering something the mind hasn't fully acknowledged yet. Perhaps a picture of happiness no longer fits. Perhaps expectations are shifting. Perhaps fulfillment is being redefined. This doesn't necessarily point to loss, but to recalibration. March may ask, what does genuine contentment feel like now? And does the version you've been striving for still resonate? Taken together, this spread speaks to a month of honest evaluation. There may be moments of feeling stuck, but the stuckness appears to be part of a necessary pause, a reconsideration, a willingness to look clearly at where you are, what you've invested in, and what you may be ready to release. The soul questions its perceived limits. The mind hesitates at the edge of change. The spirit assesses what's growing. The body redefines what happiness means. March doesn't demand immediate action. It asks for clarity before initiation, discernment before departure, truth before momentum. From this collective foundation, we'll now explore how these themes may show up through the lens of each zodiac sign. Before moving into the 12 signs, I want to briefly share how this section was pulled. For the monthly zodiac readings, I created a small ritual container, placing a printed calendar for the month in the center of a circle of stones, shells, and seed pods that correspond to the 12 signs and the 12 inner archetypes we all carry. I lit Pisces-aligned incense, set the intention for clarity and compassion, and asked for one card for each sign, a general message for how March may want to move through you. So whether you're listening for your sun, moon, rising, or simply noticing which message resonates, take what feels supportive and leave the rest. Let's begin. Virgo. March brings a small but meaningful opportunity. The Page of Pentacles suggests a fresh start in something practical, a skill, a habit, a financial shift, or a learning process. This may not look dramatic, it may look humble, but it's sincere. With the Virgo eclipse energy earlier in the month, this feels aligned, a reset in how you invest your time and effort. Something small now has long-term potential if you nurture it patiently. Libra, your card is the Fool. March may invite you to step into something new, even if you don't have the full map. This isn't recklessness, it's trust. After months of careful weighing and balancing, you may feel a subtle nudge to take a leap. Not because it's safe, but because it's aligned. The Fool asks you to begin before you feel completely ready. Scorpio, you receive the Moon. This month may feel layered, emotional undercurrents, intuition heightened, hidden fears or truths rising to the surface. The Moon doesn't demand clarity, it asks for presence. There may be something you don't fully understand yet. Instead of forcing answers, allow yourself to move slowly and trust your instincts. Not everything needs to be illuminated all at once. Sagittarius. The Hierophant suggests a return to structure or tradition. This could show up as recommitting to a spiritual practice, seeking mentorship, or grounding yourself in a philosophy that stabilizes you. With so much mutable energy this month, your freedom may actually expand through discipline. Sometimes wisdom isn't found in exploration, but in devotion. Capricorn. The Three of Wands reversed suggests a pause in forward momentum. Plans may feel delayed. Expansion may not be moving as quickly as you'd like. But this doesn't mean failure. It may simply mean recalibration. Revisiting the long-term vision before pushing ahead. March may ask you to refine the blueprint rather than rush the build. Aquarius, your card is the Wheel of Fortune. Change is turning. This could feel fated, cyclical, or slightly outside of your control, but it carries movement. After eclipse season and collective shifts, you may find yourself stepping into a new phase, whether you planned for it or not. The wheel reminds you, trust the turning. Pisces, you receive the Six of Swords. March may mark a quiet transition for you. This card speaks to moving away from mental or emotional turbulence toward calmer waters. It doesn't erase the past, but it suggests healing through distance. Allow yourself to move forward gently, even if part of you is still processing what's behind you. Aries, your card is the Four of Cups reversed. Something you've been overlooking may suddenly become visible. This card can signal renewed interest, renewed energy, or an opportunity you hadn't considered seriously before. As Aries season begins later in the month, this feels like awakening, a reminder that inspiration hasn't disappeared. It was just waiting for your attention. Taurus, you pulled the Tower. This doesn't automatically mean catastrophe. It means truth. Something unstable may reveal itself. A belief, a structure, a plan that can no longer stand as it is. The Tower clears what isn't sustainable. For you, this may ultimately be liberating, even if it feels disruptive at first. What falls away now creates space for something more honest to be built. Gemini, the Ten of Wands suggests overload. You may be carrying too much, responsibilities, expectations, mental tasks. March invites delegation or release. Not everything requires your immediate attention. Where can you set something down, even temporarily? Cancer, you receive the Queen of Swords. This month calls for clarity and boundaries. You may find yourself needing to speak plainly, think critically, or detach emotionally in order to see a situation clearly. This isn't coldness, it's wisdom. Trust your ability to discern truth without abandoning compassion. Leo, your card is the Hanged Man reversed. Where have you been suspended? Waiting? Delaying? March may ask you to shift perspective or to finally release yourself from a holding pattern. This doesn't require force, but it may require surrendering control over how something should look. A new angle changes everything. As always, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. These cards don't override your agency. They simply illuminate themes that may be asking for awareness. Before closing, I want to offer 2 reflection questions for the month. Questions I'll be sitting with myself as we move through March. You may want to journal on these, or simply hold them gently in the background as the weeks unfold. The first, where might I be feeling stuck, and what belief about myself is reinforcing that feeling? And the second, what am I continuing to invest in, and does it still align with the version of happiness I'm growing into? These aren't questions that demand immediate answers. They're invitations to notice honestly. And from here, I'd like to share a brief reflection from the perspective of a highly sensitive soul navigating this energy in real time. This winter, I've been confronting a very old pattern. For a long time, I carried the belief that if something in my life wasn't working, it must be because I wasn't strong enough, not disciplined enough, not healed enough. That the instability around me was somehow always my fault to fix alone. And when things became painful, my instinct was to take on the shame, to assume I needed to try harder, sacrifice more, or put myself last. This year, I made a different choice. I chose my sobriety. I chose my health. I chose to stay aligned with the values that once pulled me out of very dark places. And in doing so, I accomplished something that had eluded me for years. 1 full year of sobriety, not only from alcohol, but from cigarettes as well. It should have felt triumphant. Instead, it felt bittersweet. Because choosing myself meant stepping out of familiar patterns. Patterns where my needs were negotiable, where my boundaries were flexible, where I quietly carried more than was mine to carry. And when you stop carrying what isn't yours, there's often a gap, a loneliness, a voice that whispers, "You're selfish, you're abandoning love, you don't deserve this." That voice is the 8 of Swords. That's the stuckness. But here's what I'm also noticing. In the space created by that decision, I've been building something new. I've been investing in self-care, in skill building, in community spaces that value health and integrity, in dancing around my house to songs that remind me I am allowed to take up space. It hasn't been easy, but it has been strengthening. And so when I ask myself what I'm investing in, the answer is clear. I'm investing in a version of happiness that doesn't require me to abandon myself to maintain it. March feels like that kind of month. Not dramatic endings, not explosive beginnings, but a steady recognition that the life you're growing into may require you to stop apologizing for having needs. As we move through March, you don't have to solve everything at once. You don't have to force a decision before it's ready. You don't have to rush the clearing just to get to the spark. Sometimes growth looks like quiet evaluation. Sometimes strength looks like choosing yourself gently. If it feels supportive, you might carry this mantra with you through the month. I let go of fear that choosing myself creates loss, and hold faith that alignment strengthens what is meant to stay. I am allowed to grow into a life that honors my needs. Take a breath with that. Let it settle where it needs to. March doesn't demand urgency. It asks for honesty. If you find yourself in a space of reflection, questioning what you're investing in, or noticing where old beliefs still linger, you're not behind. You're refining. The spark of Aries season will arrive soon enough. For now, allow yourself the grace of clearing space, redefining fulfillment, and trusting that what's truly aligned will not disappear simply because you chose integrity. If this reading resonated with you, feel free to share which card or message stood out most in the comments. I always love hearing how these themes are landing for you. And before we close, as always, may you release the stories that keep you feeling small. May you trust the quiet wisdom of your own becoming. And may you step into this new season with courage that is steady, not rushed. Thank you for being here and for walking this threshold month with such presence. I'll see you in April.